What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, a very interesting story has popped up on social media, and I felt like I needed to talk about it. And it's about this young brother who is living in Atlanta, and he basically made the announcement online that he is homeless and he is tired of staying in these shelters and stuff and is looking for more permanent housing so he can get on his feet. And so he's made this post on, social media, and it's actually starting to spread around and it's going viral. And the interesting thing is, I guess, is that a lot of young ladies find this black brother to be attractive, and they have offered for him to stay with them. A lot of women out there are right now asking this young man to come stay at their place, and he can stay there rent free. Doesn't matter that he's homeless. All they care about, it seems like, is that he is, I don't know, that he's handsome to them, right? And I saw this, and I've seen it starting to spread around on social media, and I kind of chuckled at it the first time I saw it because it's one of those things that gives like a real life example that actually pokes holes in a lot of the rhetoric that you hear from a lot of these same types of women. And it is the same types because you can look on some of their profiles and see the same women that are asking this man to come live with them are also the same women who, talk a lot of nonsense about what a man needs to have in order to be with her, how much he needs to spend on a date, how much he needs to spend, to take her out and make sure he pays for her child's daycare and all this other stuff. How much income the man needs to have in order to date her. They talk a lot of stuff like that. But then when this dude pops up, when Pookie pops up, talking about I need a place to live, they have no problem offering not only their home, but their bodies to this man, right? And it's funny to me when I see stuff like this that, it tells the truth. You know, this is why me personally, why I don't get too bent out of shape when I see a lot of the nonsense that comes from a lot of these females online when they talk about what they need or what they expect of a man. Because I know that that's not true, especially this is going to sound harsh, but let's just be honest. A lot of them, when I see that they already have, multiple children by multiple men or just like a lot of kids, it's like, we all know that you're not really all that selective. Okay, we can see that. You don't have to pretend and act as if you have some of these high standards when we know that you don't. Okay, we can kind of see your lifestyle and we can kind of see the types of people you've been with before and who your children's fathers are and the types of things that you instill into your own children, and we can see that that's a lot of that stuff is not true, right? It's a lot of it is just wishful thinking and being obsessed with materialism and a lot of self-centeredness. That's where a lot of it comes from. But when you have a situation like this where the pretty Pookie needs a place to live, these women jump at the chance to have him come live with them. And well, let me talk about him for a second here, okay? Because once again, I as a man, I can understand you having a tough time, okay? Because a lot of men have gone through lots of tough times where they might have lost a job, or they might have moved to a new place, or they might have become homeless or something like that. But, for me, honestly, when I see stuff like this, I'm like, Negro, you need to just go ahead and get yourself a job and, you can make a way. I understand it's not easy nowadays. I understand inflation and, the job market is screwed up. But, I think you can figure out how to make it. And truth be told, if you can figure out for yourself how to push forward and how to get over these obstacles, it builds character. It builds strength in you as a man, especially, you'll be at a situation where you will, if you overcome this later on in your life, you'll think back to those times where, hey, there was a point where I was homeless and I worked my way out of that. And that makes you a stronger person. That makes you a stronger man, right? So I think most men, especially when we're young, if we go through that type of adversity, if we can work through it, and it's okay if someone helps you or maybe gives you a loan or something like that, and you can get out of that situation. I'm not saying don't accept any help at all, but what I'm saying is, you know, figure it out without asking, going on social media talking about give me a place to live. You know what I mean? Like that seems a little ridiculous because now you're getting too dependent on the majority of people out there having good graces towards you. And really, I guess he must know that he's somewhat depending on his looks and also a way to kind of take advantage of the ladies out there that find him attractive, right? Because a real man knows that for the most part, no one cares what you're going through personally. No one cares if you are suffering financially. They expect you to work your way out of it anyway. And once again, like I said, it builds character and it builds more internal fortitude within yourself if you figure out a way to get yourself out of this mess. All right? You'll thank yourself later on for doing that, right? I know it seems bad now, but you'll feel a lot better and a lot stronger and more powerful as a man if you get your way out of there. But I do think he is taking advantage a little bit. I think he does know the situation of, how women view him. So that's why he did what he did. And, he claims that he doesn't want these women thinking that he's just some sort of sexual play toy or whatever, which, whatever. That doesn't seem right to me because, like I said, the way he presents himself on social media, he does seem like a Pookie. I mean, he calls himself Big Boss Escobar on social media. The fact that you talking about you're homeless, but you got a social media just proves to me what I'm talking about, right? If you were really on the grind and really wanting to get yourself out of the situation, social media would not be the avenue that you would be taking. That would be the last thing on your mind. You'd be too focused, too hyper focused on getting yourself out of this terrible financial situation. You would take time away from social media and just focus on reality. That's what a man does. A man has to focus on the real world. Social media is not real. Okay? It's all flash in the pan. It's a lot of illusion. And and when I say that, a lot of these women that are asking him to come stay there, they know nothing about him. They know nothing about his character or his integrity. They know nothing if he's, been locked up, if he's dangerous, if he's a sex offender. They don't know his family. He's from a whole different city, and they're asking him to come stay there. This is how a lot of you guys, or I'm sorry, a lot of you ladies wind up either coming up missing. This is how a lot of you wind up being part of these true crime stories, right? Or in these abusive relationships because you're already ready, waiting and willing to just let any man come stay with you because you find him attractive, and you allow your emotions and really your immaturity to basically wind up putting yourself in danger. And now, see, you'll have women out here who will tell this man, come stay with me. And then a year later, you'll hear them, whining on social media with their lips poked out about this man being just so terrible, so bad, and I'm so sad, and he used me and all this other nonsense, right? This is the frustration with a lot of guys like me when I see a lot of ladies complaining online about the men they date. And I always ask, you didn't know this before? You didn't know this before you had him come stay there? And then I come to find out these weird stories where you didn't even know this man, or you just met him, or you saw him on Facebook and you thought he was cute, so you let him come stay with you. And I'm like, well, why did you expect this to go good? Why did you think this was going to be a valuable relationship? But deep down, a lot of these women know that this has no value and that this is not good. They know it's all emotion. They know it's frivolous, right? That's why they want it, because it is, this man, he's living with them, so he's already at a lower position because it's their house. So they feel like they can just put him out whenever they feel like it, and he has no power in that dynamic. So he can't control her or whatever. He's just someone that they can kind of use for themselves, like he's like a little lapdog or something. And as a man, you should never want to be in that position. You should never be a man living at a woman's house. Never. Never. I don't care how old you are. I don't care, where you are in life. Always find your own place to live. Do not stay at some woman's house. I know that's a big problem I see with a lot of young men where they think that's okay. All right? It's not okay. I love living by myself. If I weren't married and had a child, I would live by myself and I would be perfectly happy there. Okay? I don't even need like a big place, but I need to be living in a safe area and a nice place. And I always kept my places nice. I love living by myself. When I had my own 1-bedroom apartment, that place was spotless. I loved living by myself because otherwise, if I don't love you like that, if this is not someone I love, my wife or my child, I don't want people living in my space. Okay? I'd rather just live by myself and I can be content in that way because I can do whatever I want with my own house. But, don't be a man thinking it's okay to be laying up in some woman's house, sleeping on her couch or sleeping in her bed or whatever, eating up all her kids' snacks and whatnot. So you guys be living in these women's houses, drinking up all the juicy juice and eating up all the kids' Lunchables and whatnot. That's ignorant as hell. Don't do stuff like that. Okay? Don't be doing knucklehead stuff like that. Get your own place. Live on your own. Be your own man. But, some of these ladies basically have proved themselves to be extremely hypocritical in a lot of the nonsense that they say on social media, which I knew, and most men with sense and who have experience know that a lot of these women are just talking out their ass. They don't really have all these requirements because all you gotta do is have a pretty face, some light eyes, some green eyes, and some locks, and you can stay up in any woman's house, right? And a lot of you guys, a lot of you really don't even have to have that. If you're a man that knows how to talk and how to act and be a man, you're going to be found attractive by women. So for the most part, a lot of that stuff that they talk about is nonsense. But, just as a note to you ladies out there, please be careful because a lot of you do stupid stuff like this. And then a year later or 2 years later, then you're all boo-hoo crying online talking about how this man did you wrong. It's like, well, I don't see how a homeless man was going to do you right, but that's the situation you got yourself into. And likewise to the men out there, don't think it's okay to be laid up in some woman's house because that's a terrible power dynamic to be in. That's a terrible spot to be in. You don't want to be a man in that type of dynamic. So anyway, you folks let me know how you feel about it in the comments section, and I'd very much like to hear your opinions on this story. Anyway, this is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.